Yang ji jimbur zirdan nimi zhang zone munum jimbur nga gyata bakar tarngan zanto shirmar to. Tumba tikje jan la ki sham tsar mechan rawar seringi zhang kamsa jawar tikji shan la yi larma. Jimi panzo jala sara de gongje topan pawar shinji lo, gongje topan pawar shinji lo, gongje topan pawar shinji lo.
Profound and subtle Dharma is rarely encountered in eons. Now we can hear and follow it. May we realize the Tathagata's meaning. To liberate sentient beings, please generate bodhicitta before today's teaching. There is no class tomorrow. On Thursday and Friday, we'll teach the Uttara Tantra Shastra. Let's continue with our teaching. Yesterday, we discussed the analogy of entering a city, which I hope everyone understands it. Some Buddhist principles without proper explanation and teaching might not be entirely clear. If we rely solely on our own wisdom, some aspects may not be fully comprehensible. That's why we first need someone to guide and point the way. Then we can realize it ourselves. It's very important to remember the content being taught, which is very important. Due to various circumstances, it's not possible for everyone to come here for guidance, but I hope that after we finish teaching, you'll review the relevant materials yourselves, then discuss and study together with your Dharma friends. Ask each other questions about anything you don't understand. No matter which sutra or shastra we're studying, in the process of learning, we need to truly understand it. This is very important. At the beginning, we certainly need someone to teach us. Without someone to teach the Dharma, even the wise cannot understand. Without teaching even a relatively simple Buddhist analogy, we may not fully master. This is indeed the case. After the teaching is complete, we should try our best not to forget it or erase it. Earlier, we discussed not abandoning sentient beings and seeking the Mahayana. We explained this principle through the main analogy of entering the city gate. Today, we'll continue with that Bodhisattva faith in signs again address the Buddha. Bhagavan, what is correct mindfulness? As earlier, we had this phrase, the Bodhisattva meditates on the mind of compassion as foremost. At the beginning, it was also said how to practice Mahayana Buddhism. We need to uphold right mindfulness, cultivate with compassion as the foundation. Earlier, we also have discussed renunciation mind, explaining the principle of entering the great city. All of these have been covered. So here, what is correct mindfulness? How do we uphold right mindfulness? The answer is, this is also in the Tibetan and other versions. The Buddha replied, the answer is saying this, the practice of the unproduced non-ceasing Dharma. How do we practice right mindfulness? Practicing right mindfulness means upholding the Dharma of neither arising nor ceasing. The Buddha's answer at that time was the Dharma of neither arising nor ceasing. Then the Bodhisattva faith in signs continued to ask, Bhagavan, what is Dharma's non-production? What is non-ceasing? Bhagavan, what do you mean? You speak of neither arising nor ceasing, which Dharma doesn't arise, which Dharma doesn't cease. What specifically does this mean? He asked this way. Then the Buddha continued to say, Son of the lineage, do not produce negative dharmas, and do not cease virtuous dharmas. Regarding what's called the dharma of neither arising nor ceasing, negative dharmas should not arise, positive dharmas should not cease. Here it's not being analyzed together from the ultimate perspective. Rather, the meaning was explained from our conventional perspective. We shouldn't let negative dharmas arise in our mind stream. And for those that have already arisen, let them be eliminated as much as possible. For positive dharmas that haven't arisen, let them arise, and those that have arisen, don't let them cease. The few points I just mentioned are called the four right efforts to practice the Dharma with right knowledge and right mindfulness. So how do we practice? Day and night in our daily life, even the smallest negative Dharma, try not to let it arise. Once it arises, relying on antidotes, do everything possible to quickly eliminate it, eradicate it, and uproot it. This is most important. If there are positive dharmas that haven't arisen, do everything possible to make them arise in your mind stream. Those that have already arisen, again, do everything possible not to let them cease. For example, if we have a little renunciation mind, a little contemplation of impermanence, a little devotion in taking refuge in the three jewels, we should do everything we can to maintain these, not to let them disappear. Otherwise, some of us practitioners, just like it says in the Beacon of Certainty, at the beginning have abundant positive dharmas and few negative ones, while gradually all the negative dharmas become complete and the positive dharmas are gone. It's like filtering Chinese tea. When we filter tea, the dregs, the residue stays behind, while the essence has already flowed down and leaked out. This is not reasonable. Whether we're practitioners or people spreading and benefiting the Dharma, we should always use right knowledge and right mindfulness to observe our own mind stream as ordinary people. It's impossible to have not a single negative dharma arise in our mind stream, but when negative dharmas arise, we should repent as much as possible and try as much as possible to change these habits and recognize ourselves. This is very good. Otherwise, we ourselves seem to have no awareness, thinking negative dharmas don't really matter, and having no real interest in positive dharmas. This kind of character is truly frightening as we're getting farther and farther from the Dharma, more and more distant. Sometimes I think, like us now, encountering such excellent Dharma in such a good environment, if your mind stream can't be transformed, perhaps in this lifetime you're truly obstinate and difficult to tame, beyond remedy. There really is no way. For example, you're in Larung with such excellent Dharma friends, so many Vajra companions with a very auspicious place, a sacred place with blessings, and our Dharma is also so supremely excellent. When all these conditions are present, if your mind stream continues to become more and more negative, then perhaps there really is no way. Even if the Buddha appeared in person, there might be no way. So sometimes we should reprove ourselves, just as the great masters of the past would discipline themselves, not eating or not sleeping, sometimes disciplining themselves through this method to uphold positive dharmas, which is also very necessary. Don't let negative dharmas arise. Don't let positive dharmas cease. If you practice this kind of dharma, anyone in the three realms who engages in that type of practice will not be sullied by the stains of the imprints of the 5 types of desire. This Qing Shi should be changed to Ji Shi. The meaning of Ji Chi is the 5 desires, which is attachment to the 5 sense pleasures, form, sound, smell, taste, touch, along with habitual tendencies, even their seeds, they cannot defile. If we daily uphold positive dharmas with right knowledge and right mindfulness, although in the ocean of suffering in the 3 realms of samsara, the 5 desires and 6 sense objects will not defile your mind stream. It also allows us in samsara to remain relatively pure. The Buddha told the Bodhisattva, faith in signs, son of the lineage, if you are traveling in the 3 realms and desire to liberate sentient beings, you should travel in the 3 realms with these 10 Dharma aspects. Like if we as Bodhisattvas wish to travel in the 3 realms to benefit beings, we need to have 10 Dharmas aspects. This is indispensable. Many of us here also say, I want to benefit beings in the future. I definitely will. When can I go back? When I go back, I must properly benefit beings. I'll start with my own parents first, then my own neighbors. I will fiercely guide them to the Pure Land. But if you want to guide them, you should first study these 10 Dharmas aspects. Otherwise, your initial aspirations are all very good while you're in this quiet mountain valley with few afflictions and a relatively nice environment. Here, wanting to benefit beings is very wonderful. We also understand this. But once you get into the mundane world, whether you guide them or they guide you is hard to say. At first, you prepare to guide them, but after a while, they start teaching you, start guiding you. It's possible. So as bodhisattvas, as people who have generated bodhicitta to benefit beings, we need to possess these 10 dharmas aspects. Today, we should study these well. See if you have confidence of whether you'll be able to benefit beings in the future by relying on these 10 methods. Below it says, traveling in the 3 realms. Although following conventional words and letters, the 3 realms are indeed taught to exist. When we are wandering in the 3 realms of samsara, we need to accord with conventional language, texts, and conventional customs to begin benefiting beings. Certainly there are the 3 times of future, past, and present. While we're in the 3 realms, according to conventional language, texts, and conventional designations and concepts, we have to acknowledge the 3 times and 3 realms. All these exist. Then unsurpassable enlightenment doesn't fall in the 3 times. If we speak of the highest state of reaching unsurpassed bodhi, then the so-called future, past, and present 3 times are completely unobtainable. In the Diamond Sutra, it also says, past mind is unobtainable, present mind is unobtainable, future mind is unobtainable. If mind is unobtainable, then time is also unobtainable. Regarding time, even physicists consider that space and time are both illusions of people. In the state of unsurpassed enlightenment, the 3 times are all unobtainable. Unsurpassable enlightenment doesn't fall into the category. In the most definitive, the ultimate bodhi state, we can say it doesn't fall into any number, whether 1, 2, 3. There is no such concept. Even 1 doesn't exist, let alone other categories. Therefore, the concepts of 3 times and 3 realms don't exist neither. We don't need the 2 characters, sentient beings, after this. I won't go into which Dunhuang manuscript or which version. When we need to make changes here, I'll go ahead to make them directly. Otherwise, if we analyze every character, it would take up too much time, because in this Sutra of Great Liberation, when they later made corrections, they also added certain characters. So when we don't use certain parts, I still have basis from comparing the Dunhuang manuscripts with the Taisho Tripitaka. So many of the reasons may not need to be explained. The meaning is, when we reach ultimate bodhi, we don't fall into any numbers, let alone saying there are 3 times and 3 realms. These fundamentally don't exist. So it says here, in the ultimate sense, indeed, the 3 times and 3 realms simply don't exist. Earlier we mentioned when bodhisattvas wish to benefit beings without abandoning them, they need 10 dharma aspects. What are the 10 dharmas? The first one, the mind will neither go up nor down because of praise or blame. The meaning is, in the process of benefiting sentient beings, inevitably others will praise or slander or criticize you. Be it criticism or praise, if the mind has no increase or decrease, this is the first condition, and it is very difficult. Generally speaking, many of us, whenever there's praise, we're very happy. So sometimes people around us deliberately praise us, which can be seen. Wow, you speak so well, you look so good. Wow, when you sit nearby, there's a fragrant smell. There are many such things. Some people deliberately flatter certain leaders. When it comes to these leaders, outwardly their physical appearance is particularly unattractive, yet they deliberately say, "You look so amazing." Many people engage in such deliberate flattery. This kind of thing does happen. Then in the process of benefiting sentient beings, inevitably you'll hear some kinds of slander against you, criticism of you, or rumors spreading about you, all kinds of things. But at this time, if you truly have an altruistic bodhisattva mind, you won't become complacent because of praise, nor suffer unbearably because of criticism. It won't be like this. We often use this quote from the Treasury of Sakya aphorisms: not becoming elated because of praise, not becoming distressed because of insults, one who skillfully maintains their own virtues and merits. This is the true character of a worthy person. Generally, a true great being is like this. In our The Way of Bodhisattva, it also says, when others praise you, what is there to be happy about? Perhaps there are also those who criticize you. At the meantime, when you receive criticism, what is there to be unhappy about? There are still those who praise you. It also says this. So regarding praise and criticism, it's actually just a matter of one's psychology. It may indeed have some effect on the mind, but if you can maintain balance because of praise, your own arrogance may grow significantly, and this kind of mindset keeps growing. There's no need for this. Actually, praise and criticism are just sounds. Even from our worldly knowledge nowadays, for example, when I want to speak, first there's a discriminating thought, and the discriminating thought uses wind to vibrate the vocal cords in the throat. Then there's a sound wave, and this wave keeps expanding outward, finally reaching someone else's eardrum. At this time, after people receive the sound, according to modern understanding, it will be analyzed through the brain. Then the discriminating mind makes judgments. Actually, this whole process, whether it's the sound of praise or the sound of criticism, in reality it's just particles. But these particles, in their essential nature, can't possibly exist. They're like sounds in an empty valley. In the past, there was a Khenpo at our school who often taught the lay people, "Wow," Atisha said, "all sounds are like sounds in an empty valley. So don't get angry and don't be attached to the sound." Later, when he himself encountered a bit of criticism from others, he felt a bit uncomfortable. Once he came running to my place. I said to him, deliberately imitating him, "Don't you often say to the lay people, Atisha said, all sounds are like sounds in an empty valley, so don't be happy because of praise and don't be sad because of criticism?" He said, "Yes, I do say that, but now this problem is still quite troublesome. When we talk about it, it's all very easy, but actually when we truly encounter situations, perhaps when others praise you, naturally you may feel a sense of pride or happiness inside. Then when criticized, you feel a kind of suffering. Perhaps for many ordinary people it's like this. But if your practice is a bit better, indeed, others' praise and criticism, that you can completely use them to train your mind. This is very important. Especially if you want to benefit sentient beings, indeed you need to interact with people. You may encounter many different kinds of people, and then you'll hear both praise and criticism. If we can truly use it for the path, then we can enhance our spiritual practice. In the book, Tales for Transforming Adversity, for example, there's a black dot on a white piece of paper. This black dot represents others' criticism of you. But regarding this criticism, if our mind keeps clinging to this black dot and won't let it go, yet there remains such a large white area, but you overlook the vast white space of the entire page. For example, someone slanders you, saying you might have stolen something and you happen to be holding something that looks suspicious. Then you keep hanging on to these words in your heart. If this is the case, indeed, your practice has no way to progress, not to mention spreading the Dharma and benefiting beings. Actually, I think practicing on your own is a bit easier and you can still endure it yourself, but especially if you want to guide sentient beings, spread the Dharma and benefit beings, it is difficult to endure the misdeeds of your disciples. Without a certain mental strength, benefiting sentient beings is quite difficult. If you want to benefit sentient beings, you need to have this psychological preparation. Like it says in the treatise on the great perfection of wisdom, there was a Brahmin who used 500 words to offer praise toward Shakyamuni Buddha. When praised, the Buddha also remained expressionless and didn't show any happiness. Later, that Brahmin used 500 words to attack him, but he still remained expressionless just the same. It is very difficult for us to reach the state like the Buddhas, but I think as long as we study hard, the first Dharma should be helpful in our daily lives. The first condition regarding praise and criticism, no increase or decrease in mind. Second, your mind should not discriminate one from the other when hearing something pleasant or unpleasant. If you hear of good or bad, the earlier one was mainly about ourselves. This one is whether others are good or not good. At this time, the mind won't discriminate. You might think good isn't necessarily good, not good isn't necessarily not good. In Buddhist scriptures, it's also often said, regarding all phenomena actually have no truly fixed characteristic. Bad can turn into good, good can turn into bad. Some people may be very good now, but they can quickly become bad people too. Some people are very bad, but they can quickly become good people. This is also possible. So good and bad cannot be completely determined. So your mind shouldn't discriminate prematurely. This person is incredibly good. One day a department head called me. Today I found a particularly good person. He's so good in this way and that way. I said, don't praise him just yet. Wait another year. Later, in less than a month, this person did something bad. Sometimes regarding many conditioned phenomena, we shouldn't be happy because of good or sad because of bad, as it is unnecessary. When we hear of good or bad, many things cannot be completely determined. This is the second Dharma. Third Dharma, generate compassion similarly toward those who are wise and toward those who are deluded. In the process of benefiting sentient beings, There may be foolish people, and there may be very intelligent, wise people. Usually, many of us focus on cultivating intelligent and wise people who have promise and potential. Then with foolish people, we feel they're hopeless and they have no future, so we feel we would abandon them, give up on them. But actually, it's not necessarily like this. Those who seem relatively foolish, like Kudapantaka, still later made contributions to Buddhism. Those who seem very intelligent, like Sunakshatra Bhikshu and Devadatta at that time could memorize as much as an elephant could carry in books, and Sunakshatra Bhikshu could completely master all 12 divisions of scripture. So sometimes we also can't distinguish that those who seem to have wisdom, not necessarily will they truly contribute to society or benefit you. And those who seem particularly foolish may perhaps be of great benefit to you. Now, in our worldly schools, many teachers are like this. They look down on the students who are relatively slow, unattractive, or poor, and even can't stand them, and they focus on cultivating those who are better off, owning wealth, and the students whose appearance is good and intelligence is good. Many teachers are like this, but in reality, once the students grow up, it's hard to say whether they were truly as they appeared to be. So we should treat everyone with equanimity, and those with wisdom and those without wisdom. This includes some Buddhist teachers who appear very wise, but after some time, their slander becomes quite vicious. At first, some Dharma teachers became equally disappointed. I once thought he was someone I could rely on. This happened in the past. Wow, this person is so and so, praising him in front of me. And he is especially remarkable as his memorization is very powerful, and he studies the 5 major treatises especially well. However, after a period of time, unexpectedly, this person is truly like this. For some people, there seems to be no hope at all. Perhaps this person truly has seemingly mental problems and various other afflictions. Gradually, over time, their mental state improves more and more, and they become smarter and smarter, and finally, they're the most promising. Doesn't Patrul Rinpoche say in the words of my perfect teacher, some people are a certain way in the first half of their life, but in the second half they transform. It's also like this. This, from our usual experience, can also be seen. From the perspective of the Uttara Tantra, all sentient beings who possess Buddha nature should be treated equally. So here, treating the wise and the foolish equally, this is also very good. In the past, His Holiness Jigme Pansok basically, except in special circumstances toward his disciples, he neither particularly praised nor particularly criticized, never spoke of their faults. Basically, he taught the Dharma to everyone equally. When it's like this, some people who have the aspiration to spread the Dharma and benefit beings, relying on their own strength, naturally stand out and appear before the public. So this way is also very good. Otherwise, when we're just beginning to cultivate people, some people have particularly high hopes for certain individuals. Some of our Dharma teachers, including some Khenpos and Khenmos, had particularly high hopes for certain individuals at the very beginning, while later some of individuals left or disrobed. Then the Dharma teacher, for a period of time, even couldn't eat or sleep. This also happened. As for me, toward everyone, at first I was also like this. For example, I had great hopes for someone. If the person suddenly left and moreover did something really hard to imagine, I felt very sad. Now Confucius said, at 50, one knows the will of heaven. So I basically understand what it's like. Praising too much doesn't really help. If bad, they can't be that much worse. If good, they can't be that much better. So I see this samsara quite clearly. But some younger Dharma teachers may not be like this, and they think what I said today may not be right. My certain disciple should definitely be very good in the future, surely will. He has promise. Then the fourth, viewing sentient beings impartially, whether they are high or low. We should treat all sentient beings equally, whether they are superior or inferior. Superior ones, like gurus, tulkus, and below ones, like so-called beggars or the most lowly people, our behavior when they come is, wow, when superior people come, especially holding katas and perform very respectfully, while when inferior people come, go, 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 we don't even let them in the door. But actually, which one is truly superior is hard to say. Perhaps the superior one is a Mara manifestation, and the inferior one is Manjushra's manifestation. It's very hard to tell. Sometimes regarding sentient beings, if we look at the biographies of past great masters, many great masters also seemed very lowly when they first appeared. In our worldly realm, sometimes it's also very hard to discern which are superior and which are inferior. In the past, the founder of the Dergye Parkhang printing house, the ruler at that time was called Tenpa Tsering. He conducted secret inspections while disguised as an ordinary person to observe the people's circumstances. He ordered his officials not to collect official taxes, not to collect excessively high taxes. Once, he disguised himself as an ordinary citizen and visited the harbor to investigate. Those officials deliberately increased a lot of taxes and added additional tolls. Among them was one person who had seen the king, but he didn't recognize him. He said, "This person's head looks like the king's," and beat him harshly. It was actually the king. At that time, there was no television or such things. Tenpa Tsering had no hair. His head was quite bald. That person had seen the king before from a high seat, and he thought, "This person looks very much like the king. We should beat him harshly." After the king returned, he was very sad. He issued an order to forbid the officials from collecting many taxes from the people, but those below didn't listen. When he disguised himself like this, people couldn't recognize him. In the past, Emperor Qianlong and Emperor Kangxi sometimes did this as well. So sometimes indeed the manifestations of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of Mahayana Buddhism are even harder to recognize. One day when I went somewhere, there was a security guard who pulled down my robe and said, "Don't go up," very fiercely. "Hey, don't go up." I just covered my head and went from there. He pulled it down, very harsh, extremely fierce. So sometimes treating all people equally, this is very good. Some people, once they say a leader is coming, wow, they go crazy, but toward people below, they're especially harsh. Their expression immediately freezes. This is very bad. We also often say, like in Larong, we're all equal and there's no need to treat different groups differently. For example, when we have offerings or things to sell, some people say, this is for the masters and this is for the tulkus. When we're selling flowers or something, these are all good things to eat. Saved it for the masters. Don't come over, you all go down, go down, go down. Fifth, don't allow your mind to differentiate between those who make offerings with respect and those who are disrespectful. Whether others show you contempt or they make offerings to you, the mind shouldn't differentiate like how Shakyamuni Buddha performs. For others, for example, if one person disparages you every day and another person makes offerings to you every day, many people may not necessarily be able to treat them completely equally. Seeing the person who disparages you, you have one attitude. Then toward the person who makes offerings to you, who's especially good to you, perhaps you have another attitude. It's like when the Buddha was in his causal stage. There was also such a case. The Great Adornment Sutra says, on the right, anointed with sandalwood, on the left cut with a sharp knife. Toward these two people, the mind is equal without difference. For example, one person anoints your body with wonderful sandalwood fragrance from the right side, and then a person like Devadatta or Rahula that we just mentioned that begins cutting your body with a sharp blade. The Buddha treated both people the same way. Although there is some difficulty for us to do this completely, but as a Mahayana Buddhist, we should treat other people equally as much as possible, because if others are good to you, you become especially attached to them, and many of your actions are biased toward them. Then toward those who are a bit bad to you, you absolutely must harm them, whether openly or secretly. We Tibetans have a saying, toward people you dislike, even if you have a small louse on your body, you deliberately throw it on their body. There's this saying. Some people keep wanting to harm a person, but otherwise have no way, and once they find a small louse on their own body, they take it out and throw it on that person's body. This is a manifestation of harming others, and this is not very good. Some people have very bad hearts and keep wanting revenge. If they really have no other capability, they just speak ill of that person, spread rumors everywhere. However, as a Mahayana Buddhist, this conduct is truly very unreasonable. Although we may not completely have this non-dual mind, it may be difficult to achieve. Well, we've also studied so much Mahayana Dharma, and so that we should at least also have practice in this area. Below the sixth, don't deride others' faults and defects. Regarding others' shortcomings, don't constantly point them out. Don't look at others. Some people can't see their own faults at all, but when they look at others, they can find all kinds of faults. As worldly people, having no faults at all is also impossible. as it says in the Sutra of Buddha names, who among those living in the world can be without faults? Even practitioners who have lost mindfulness give rise to afflictions. Even arhats exhibit karmic patterns that manifest in bodily and verbal actions. How much more so ordinary people who should be without faults? Even arhats may exhibit behavior that is not in accordance with the Dharma due to habitual patterns from past lives manifesting in their body and speech. Regarding body and speech, they also have some karmic actions of body and speech, such as jumping while walking or laughing loudly. What then of us ordinary beings? Ordinary people certainly have many faults. So if there are any faults, you have no reason to deliberately seek out others' faults. This is unreasonable. Instead, cultivate a pure perception of mind as much as possible. The mirror of the source also says, if the mind is right, all phenomena are right. If the mind is wrong, all phenomena are also wrong. This statement is quite true. If our mind is very upright, then your entire world is beautiful with nothing really wrong. But if your mind has problems, then your world also becomes colored by that. We can see this among people who come to Larung on pilgrimage. Some people have very pure minds. Wow, this is a pure realm, a red world. Could this be Guru Rinpoche's red pure land? Could this be the pure land of bliss? Some people whose minds are not right say, this here is no good, that's no good, the climate is bad, this and that. There are all kinds of complaints. So the people around us are also like this. If the mind is relatively upright, then no matter who they are, their practice is very good and they're very kind in all respects. But if your own practice is not good, then around you there's also a kind of energy field. Everything becomes polluted. This world also becomes ugly and evil. So when you notice certain shortcomings in others, first reflect on your own faults. Perhaps others don't have such faults. This is how we should think. Seventh, although you see the various vehicles, view them as one vehicle. All the various teachings proclaimed by the Buddha, Mahayana, Hinayana, Vajrayana, or the 9 vehicles, Shravaka, Pratyeka Buddha, Bodhisattva vehicles, Kriya Tantra, Karya Tantra, Yoga Tantra, Mahayoga, Anu Yoga, and Ati Yoga, the 9 vehicles, and many other vehicles. All these vehicles ultimately, just as we explained before, lead to recognizing the true face of all phenomena, which is the essence of Buddha nature. Ultimately, there is one vehicle. We should know this. All the various Dharma methods in the end lead to realize the nature of mind. There is only one vehicle. Eighth, although you hear the sounds of the 3 lower rebirths, don't be afraid or worried if you hear the various sounds emanating from the hell realms. In other words, matters related to the hell realms, as well as hungry ghosts and animals. In such circumstances, you should harbor no fear. Of course, this lack of fear is not like some people nowadays who have no faith, saying, I'm not afraid of death, I don't care if I go to hell, it doesn't matter if I become a hungry ghost, or it doesn't matter if I'm reborn as an animal, even perhaps there are no 3 lower realms, and so on. This is a very ignorant kind of fearlessness. Actually, if they truly encountered the 3 lower realms, in the end they would still be afraid. So true fearlessness actually means that, just like in Dzogchen, having no particular hope for the pure lands and no particular worry about the lower realms, reaching the highest state, free from worry and anxiety. At this time there is no fear of the 3 lower realms. When a bodhisattva has already reached the highest state, they have no fear of the 3 lower realms to reach such a state. Otherwise, if you're afraid of the 3 lower realms, and in the human world you're afraid of this and that, you may not even have the courage to benefit sentient beings. Some of us are constantly afraid of various things, and especially fear rebirth in lower realms in the next life. Under such circumstances, in this case, when benefiting beings, their entire courage is essentially absent. Ninth, view all bodhisattvas as the same as Tathagatas. Toward all those who have aroused the Mahayana bodhicitta, we should have the thought of Tathagatas. Whoever has aroused bodhicitta, generate the thought of Tathagatas toward them. In some scriptures and treatises, it also says that bodhisattvas are the cause of Tathagatas. It's like in India, what is the custom? They don't prostrate to the full moon, but prostrate to the new moon. So actually, practitioners first prostrate to bodhisattvas, which is a kind of prostration to the Tathagatas. For us, regarding bodhisattvas who have aroused bodhicitta, which ones have aroused bodhicitta and which ones haven't is very hard to say. So when we see sentient beings, we should all think, oh, this is a manifestation of the Buddha and this is an appearance of the Buddha. Thinking this way, we won't create negative karma. 10th, considering it wonderful and marvelous that a Buddha emerges during this time of the degenerate eon. In an age of 5 degenerations like this, the Buddha has already appeared in the world and turned the Dharma wheel, and moreover, the Buddha Dharma remains in the world, and this is extremely rare and precious. We should often truly think this way in our hearts. I myself often think this way. We are now born in Jambudvapa when the Buddha Dharma is flourishing, and especially we've encountered such wonderful Mahayana Dharma. We should consider ourselves extremely fortunate even in the midst of misfortune. Sometimes when we observe the world, the afflictions appear severe. The entire world seems to be one where all sentient beings are in chaos. No matter which group, sentient beings are all in disorder. But on the other hand, in such a chaotic age, we have encountered the Buddha's appearance in the world, and moreover, the Buddha Dharma has not yet disappeared, and moreover, this lineage is still complete and present. Such a world is indeed extremely rare. Therefore, many of you here might also feel this way. This lifetime of mine, among however many tens of thousands of years, is the most meaningful because I've encountered the Mahayana Dharma. We should have such conviction. It is very important to have these 10 qualities. Bodhisattvas who thus possess the 10 dharmas, and we won't use these few characters, eliminate afflictions. Bodhisattvas who thus already possess these 10 dharmas, afflictions and their residual habits will not truly become afflictions. If bodhisattvas possess these 10 dharmas, then afflictions and the habitual tendencies of afflictions will not create obstacles for you. We can say obstacles or harm. The meaning is that afflictions won't pollute you. As a bodhisattva, it is truly important to possess the 10 dharmas and then eliminate afflictions and residual habits. If we possess these, then no matter in which world and where you are, you won't have suffering or pollution. Most importantly, in the future, I think among us here there will certainly be many truly great people who spread the Dharma and benefit beings. There certainly will be. Although some may not be that famous, in their own places they practice very well and also benefit sentient beings. They have truly excellent endeavors. These people certainly exist. But when we're first studying, we need to think of these dharmas and remember them. Otherwise, it's like some college students nowadays. You grow up in a greenhouse thinking this world is very beautiful, and then when you first encounter worldly people, wow, it's actually very complicated, and their hearts are very fragile. In the end, they have no way to face anything. They get depression and finally commit suicide. We as Buddhists, especially those spreading the Mahayana Dharma, should first prepare well in all aspects, just like putting on armor. Otherwise, when others disparage and slander you, and you've labored diligently for a period of time, but after some time there are no results whatsoever, you might feel extremely disheartened. If your mental strength is insufficient, then in a degenerate age, spreading the Dharma and benefiting beings is truly difficult. Sometimes I think of His Holiness Jigme Phuntsok Rinpoche and the great masters of the past. They are truly remarkable. Otherwise, teaching the true Dharma and guiding sentient beings in a degenerate age is not that simple. If one possesses these 10 dharmas, then afflictions, habitual tendencies, and various karmic obscurations will not harm you. Bodhisattva Mahasattvas roaming through the 3 realms take great compassion as their foundation. Bodhisattva Mahasattvas who possess these 10 dharmas, roaming through the 3 realms of samsara, take great compassion as their basis, since they dwell in such an age of 5 degenerations, a degenerate age, an age of conflict in such a world of various kinds of defilement, blending their light yet not mixing with the dust. This is called inconceivable. Such bodhisattvas, although their bodies dwell in the age of 5 degenerations, among groups of ordinary barbaric sentient beings, their minds will not be polluted. Blending their light, isn't there an expression called blending light and mixing with dust? It should be a neutral term, meaning together with their light and also with the dust. The meaning is being together with them. But when bodhisattvas are with ordinary people and with sentient beings in a degenerate age, on one hand, they must accord with the ordinary people. They must blend their light, merging their light together with theirs. Otherwise, if bodhisattvas are high above, their radiance is always out of reach for those below. They may have no way to benefit beings, so you have to accord with sentient beings, correspond with them and adapt to them, yet not mixing with the dust. You shouldn't completely go along with their current. Otherwise, in the end, as because ordinary people have many habitual patterns of only greed, anger and ignorance, if you completely merge as one with them, you may be unable to extricate yourself. So we often say that the lotus emerges from the mud without being polluted. We should maintain a very pure way of life. The text Finding Comfort and Ease in the Nature of Mind also teaches that if one inquires about the characteristics of a true guru, in guiding worldly beings they appear the same as others. In transcending the worldly, they differ from others. Their actions of body, speech, and mind excel beyond others. This is what we explained before about relying on a spiritual friend. It should be the 5th chapter of the Great Perfection, resting in the nature of mind. If someone asks about the characteristics of a guru, as the guru guides worldly beings in many ways, they need to be the same, including eating or walking, getting sick or losing one's temper. They must have the same habitual tendencies as many sentient beings, the same behaviors, the same way of life, and the same kinds of feelings. They have to correspond with sentient beings, but since they have transcended the worldly, their realization is different from that of worldly people. They are still different from ordinary sentient beings because their 3 doors are different from our 3 doors. Their 3 doors, for the sake of benefiting beings, constantly remain in a state of purity. So here, blending their light yet not mixing with the dust. Actually, this is also found in Master Hu Yuan's commentary on the Nirvana Sutra. Many great Chinese masters of ancient times often use this term, blending their light yet not mixing with the dust. Blending light and mixing with dust should be originated from Taoism. In the Tao Te Ching, there is also blend their light, mix with their dust. They all have different meanings throughout. So what should we ourselves remember? In the future, when we guide sentient beings, our light must harmonize with sentient beings. Otherwise, you'll have no way to guide them. But you shouldn't completely become one with them. Otherwise, some of our Dharma teachers went to spread the Dharma, and after going to spread the Dharma, they never came back. Their light and dust all merged into that place. At the beginning, I certainly believed the light was blended, the dust was not mixed, but gradually the power of the dust is quite great. Sometimes I think some of our Dharma teachers say, I'm going to spread the Dharma and benefit beings, but when we inquire, it seems we don't know whether spreading the Dharma was successful or not. Indeed, as a bodhisattva spreading the Dharma and benefiting beings, one should blend their light yet not mix with the dust. This is very important. Just as Longchenpa explained, there are both common aspects and uncommon aspects. In the common aspects, one have to accord with sentient beings, but in the uncommon aspects, we ourselves, as Buddhists, whether with other non-Buddhists or with other worldly people, we should also have a common life with them. Not like some people who, when eating together with others, hold a prayer wheel, seeming crazy. When it's truly time to practice, they watch television. In places where it's not needed, they completely mix with the dust with others. In places where they should harmonize, they themselves put on an act as if they have great realization. However, what these people lack most is precisely realized spiritual attainment. They are merely putting on the appearance of being practitioners. This should be unreasonable. In our daily life, we often tell everyone, especially toward those around you who have no faith, at the beginning don't have a lot of negation. You can't wear a hat like this, you can't do this and that, you can't do this. We know a little bit, especially those who have studied the Vinaya. Everything is this won't do, that won't do. But they themselves don't practice well. They don't speak to themselves this way, but toward others say this won't do, that won't do. Actually, as a bodhisattva, one have to read the situation, which places you can speak in and other places you cannot. It's not necessarily that what you understand can be applied in any situation. As a bodhisattva, one should know the time and know the place, in which places, at which times, under which circumstances one can speak Buddhist principles and under which circumstances one cannot speak. This must be clearly distinguished. Blending their light, yet not mixing with the dust, has many meanings. I hope everyone will think about it afterwards. When you guide sentient beings in the future, will you blend light and mix with dust, or not blend light yet not mix with dust, not blend light and mix with dust? Anyway, there are 4 types. You should examine this yourself. In Buddhism, we mainly speak of blending light yet not mixing with dust, a very good method for bodhisattvas to guide sentient beings. Bodhisattvas guiding sentient beings in the 3 realms is truly inconceivable. Why is it that through the power of bodhicitta, one person has such great power? It's truly inconceivable. But this bodhisattva certainly has the special conduct of blending light, yet not mixing with dust. Otherwise, people are all the same. Why do some bodhisattvas have such great mental strength, while some, no matter how they try to attract, just have no way? What is the reason for this? So this aspect also needs to be examined. Below are some verses. Today's teaching will be complete after we finish explaining these verses. These verses are relatively easy to understand, so we can just explain them literally. Any being in a pure world who has tightly guarded their ethics for up to an eon, that being in a mere instant is excellent and supreme through their practice of love. The later part, and great compassion, is changed to is most supreme, the meaning of most supreme. If a person in a pure land keeps precepts for one entire eon, of course this merit is extremely great. This need not be said. But if someone in our age of 5 degenerations, like in the Saha world, in this place for a brief moment, whether an instant or a day, if in such a short time they practice loving kindness and compassion, then this merit is most supreme. It surpasses the merit of practicing in the pure land just mentioned. The middle part, body, speech, and mind's actions, all obtain purity. These 2 lines we won't use. Above this add 2 lines. For anyone in this world, if some people in this realm, for anyone in this world, all the negativities of body, speech, and mind they have carried out creates negative karma of body, speech, and mind. If a person in this land creates offenses of body, speech, and mind, that would definitely result in falling into one of the 3 lower rebirths. It will quickly be purified through a mind of love. The meaning is, if some people in our realm of the 5 degenerations create negative karma of body, speech, and mind, the body commits killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct. The mouth speaks lies, divisive speech, and so forth. Such negative karma will certainly cause them to fall into the 3 lower realms. In this life receives elimination. If you practice loving kindness and compassion in this present life, then all of those negative karmas just mentioned will all be eliminated, all removed. When a bodhisattva is born even in a negative world, they are free from fear and doubt. Even any negativities they have that would send them down to a lower rebirth, it will be purified through a mere headache. If some bodhisattvas in our Saha world should not be especially worried or fearful, I can't guide sentient beings, what should I do? I'm now failing exams, what should I do? I can't memorize, my aspiration isn't successful, the person in charge isn't satisfied. I didn't eat well this morning, I didn't sleep well at night. Bodhisattvas have a whole pile of worries every day, as mentioned above. This won't do, that won't work, what should I do? Here it says, you don't need to worry. Why? Even if you have negative karma that would cause you to fall into the lower realms, as Jambudvapa is the land of karma, if you create some virtuous karma here, that karmic result can be eliminated in a very short time. For example, if we recite the Avalokiteshvara mantra, study, contemplate, and practice, all those negative karmas of the lower realms in future lives will be eliminated in this life through a headache or stomach ache. So these severe negative karmas of future lives, just as explained in the Diamond Sutra, can be removed in this very life through a simple headache or stomach ache, or through a simple illness. As heavy retribution is lightened, received in this very life, so sometimes when you have headaches or stomach aches, don't take headache medicine. You should think about the principle. Otherwise, if you take headache medicine, who knows, in the next life you might fall into the lower realms. Immediately it doesn't hurt anymore. Isn't that good? Just kidding. Sometimes I'm joking. Why is this so? This is not in the Tibetan. In the Tibetan it's below, but here it's also fine. Some Chinese versions have it. Anyone who desires to sever their bondage or desires to abandon the afflictions and obscurations, even when they are born in this negative world, by their protecting the holy Dharma, their wisdom will increase. If some people wish to sever all kinds of bondage in samsara, or others' control over you, many bondages originated from your power, your karma, and also wish to eliminate all afflictions of greed, anger, ignorance, pride, and doubt. If you are reborn in this evil land and properly protect the teachings of Shakyamuni Buddha, then wisdom will increase with the sword of wisdom. All bondage and afflictions will all be completely destroyed, so don't worry. Especially, we should do our best to protect the Dharma, spread the Buddha Dharma, not pollute the Buddha Dharma, and do our best to protect the true Dharma. Then your karma and afflictions will all be eliminated. The merit of protecting the Dharma is extremely great, which we've also explained in other contexts before. For 1 billion kalpas in a pure land, constantly upholding pure precepts and practice, is not as good as in this land, from dawn to the next day. Change this character, born to in. The others may be slightly different. Not changing is also fine, from dawn to the next day. If you are reborn for 1 billion kalpas, in Tibetan it's 100,000 kalpas, but it's about the same, meaning many, for many kalpas, constantly upholding precepts in a pure land, this merit is not as good as in the Saha world, upholding precepts once between today and tomorrow. Taking the 8 precepts or taking simple precepts, this merit far exceeds the merit in a pure land, so we have great opportunity to practice virtue in the Saha world. Why is this? The Buddha says below, I have seen Aksobhya Buddha's land and the western land of bliss. These two lands are exceptionally pure worlds. The Buddha says, I have seen Aksobhya Buddha's land in the east and the western pure land of bliss. These two lands are extremely pure, where there is not even the term of afflictions, and amassing merit in those realms is not considered to be difficult. This character, this is changed to that. Creating merit, there is nothing rare, because there everything is extremely pure. There are no afflictions. In that case, creating merit there is very simple, nothing rare, but creating even a little merit in the Saha world is truly rare. So it says here, when whoever is in these worlds practices patience with those things that are unbearable, and also causes others to practice patience, which is excellent, supreme merit. The meaning is this: in our Saha world we practice enduring what seems unendurable, such as enduring slander and defamation from others, or cultivating the patience needed to examine the Dharma and teach emptiness. Even when facing truly unbearable situations, we must also teach others to be patient. You yourself can endure these things and also teach others to endure. In some versions it says others endure. You can check this later. There is a sutra called the Brahma Vishesakinta Paripracha Sutra, in which most of the words are exactly the same, and the translator was Kumarajva as well. I compared them roughly and found many verses in these sutras are very similar. In that text it also says, creating merit there and teaches others this Dharma. Actually, this those before means others. If in this Saha world you can endure what cannot be endured, and also enable others to endure in this way, then the merit is inconceivable, extremely great. Therefore, all bodhisattvas, adding the word all here might be better. Therefore, all bodhisattvas travel in this negative world, leading all sentient beings. So all bodhisattvas, if you are in this realm of the 5 degenerations and wish to guide beings to not partake of any afflictions or sorrow, do not have anxious worry about afflictions. In this Saha world of degeneration, afflictions are truly especially numerous. If you worry deeply every day, that's not worth it. You must have a firm mind. Below it will also explain that bodhicitta must be firm. If you don't have this firm bodhicitta, sometimes many things are hard to say. I have seen in the record of the transmission of the Dharma treasury that at that time, Venerable Ananda, after Shakyamuni Buddha passed into nirvana, he went to a certain place where someone was reciting a verse. The verse he recited said, if a person lives 100 years without seeing the old water crane, it's not as good as living one day and being able to see it. I am not quite sure what old water crane means. While the meaning of the verse is, if in 100 days he doesn't see it, then it's better to see it in just one day. While listening to him recite, Venerable Ananda noticed he was reciting it wrong. After the Buddha's parinirvana, the time had not been very long. It would be a terrible loss if the teachings were misremembered. So he immediately corrected this person, saying, you've memorized it wrong. The verse should be different. And he taught him, If a person lives 100 years without understanding the Dharma of arising and ceasing, it's not as good as living one day and being able to understand it. He corrected the previous verse. After explaining it to him, he left. After leaving, when he came back after some time, that person went back and told his teacher. Venerable Ananda said, I recited this wrong. That teacher was perhaps unhappy or something, and he said, Ananda is already old and confused. What he taught is wrong. You should still recite your own. Later, he recited his own. At this time, Ananda came again, and when he heard it, he was still reciting the wrong verse. At this time, Venerable Ananda said to him, didn't I already explain it to you? Why are you still reciting this wrong version? He said, my teacher said, Ananda, you are now old and confused. After hearing this, Venerable Ananda then developed renunciation, and he transmitted the Dharma to others and manifested parinirvana. So in this story, at that time, Ananda had already attained the fruit of arhatship. An arhat who attained the fruit of arhatship, when others said he was old and confused, he immediately manifested parinirvana. We may sometimes find this hard to imagine, but actually when conditions are complete, whether an arhat or a great bodhisattva will give rise to strong renunciation. Take Master Vasubandhu as the other example. One time he saw a monastic was farming and he felt it was meaningless, as it signified the Buddhism has entered the age of Dharma decline, and so he passed into parinirvana. This kind of conduct by Venerable Ananda and Master Vasubandhu, in the view of ordinary people like us, there's no need to be so sad. If I were Master Vasubandhu, I wrote the Abhidharma Kosha with such profound reasoning. Seeing one monastic plowing fields, there was no need to enter parinirvana simply because one monk was farming. Such things are incredibly common in the age of Dharma decline. I would think this way. But when certain conditions are complete, indeed, you see Master Vasubandhu also passed away in this manner, and in the end, Venerable Ananda also passed into parinirvana after hearing the person say Ananda was old and confused. And the person wouldn't listen. He still recited his own version. At this time, Ananda manifested parinirvana. These kinds of conditions are also inconceivable. So here it says, all bodhisattvas, when you are guiding beings in an evil age, do not harbor such afflictions. You have to be strong. You definitely need this perseverance in bodhicitta. If you make your bodhicitta firm, then no matter how stormy the outer world is, it won't change you in any way. In what we've explained today, the main point is that the mind must be firm. In the future process of spreading the Dharma and benefiting beings, we explained before, mainly the 10 Dharmas. Of course, some are the realizations of great bodhisattvas, which may be very difficult for us. For example, not being afraid of the 3 lower realms. Some realizations are indeed somewhat hard to imagine, but no matter what, having such a spirit, our benefiting of sentient beings will certainly succeed. Here it says, do not harbor anxious worry and generate a stable mind of perseverance. You will certainly attain the unsurpassable enlightenment. Very soon you will attain the unsurpassed path. That's all for today's teaching.
Bandharangara Padma Sodargye Bandharangara Padma Sodargye Bandharangara Padma Sodargye